Chris Watkin here, and I'm on a mission to show the UK estate agency industry there's another way to enjoy your job and earn money by going down the self-employed route. It's not for everyone. In fact, most people it's not right. But for the right sort of people, I genuinely believe you can earn the money and enjoy the job that you so rightly deserve. Today, I'm in Keller Williams offices in London Bridge, and I've asked the best of the Keller Williams guys to come into the office and find out what makes them tick. Dominic, when did you start being an estate agent? And more importantly, why the hell did you want to become an estate agent?
I asked myself that a lot in the first year.
Okay.
So September 2007 was when I first joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just at the wrong time, eh?
Well, yeah, it was a baptism of fire. My first month was incredible, and then it turned very quickly. So.
Okay. So where did you start your job as an estate agent then?
Sales negotiator, Taylor's, Central Milton Keynes.
All right. So yeah. And what happened after that first month? Did it just like fall off the cliff?
Not so much. I mean, Milton Keynes has always been slightly ring fenced because it's it's sort
all
of
those roundabouts.
design. Well, that's it. You can't literally there's no stopping anywhere. So we weren't hit as badly as what you heard sort of in the rest of the country, but you could notice a big change. There was 7 of us as negotiators out of one office, and we were one of I think 7 or 8 offices within Milton Keynes itself.
Yes.
So there wasn't enough for everyone to go round.
Did people have to be made redundant?
No, there was no redundancies. It was more a case of the pay deals got changed at the beginning of 2008, and as a result, most of the top performers actually decided to leave off their own backs.
Okay. So what did you learn from that tough market then?
Pretty much everything I know, to be honest. That it's not a case of just answering the phone and being a tour guide, that you actually have to work for your money, apparently.
Really?
Apparently so, yeah.
And picking the phone up and being proactive? And business generating?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you say business generating, it was more dropping leaflets in -1 degrees through front doors.
We've
because,
all been there, haven't we?
That works really well.
Of course it does, doesn't it? So, you started what, as a neg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trainee neg.
Okay. When did you actually let you loose and valuing houses?
That probably would have been 2008. So
all right, so pretty quickly.
Pretty quick, yeah. Well, things happened quite quickly in especially the world of tailors back then as well.
Okay, so was Ben running the show then?
No, it was Pete Wallace. So
right.
Matt Giggs was the regional manager.
So Giggsy was your boss man then?
Well, yeah,
area boss.
Area manager, yeah.
Okay, what was he like then?
Enthusiastic. It was, you would go into a meeting with him and you'd come out feeling, completely pumped. Back then it was such a tight-knit family. It was, you felt really proud to be a part of the Taylor's brand. You had a really good onboarding process. It was, people used to talk to it like a cult, but I suppose it was. You worked really long, hard hours, but we all absolutely loved it to pieces.
Okay, so 08, 09, 10, you were valuing houses in Milton Keynes. What, just enjoying it, hard work, but just grinding it through?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I moved across to the lettings side in 2008. We were part of the Cold Start program under Ronnie Green, so I moved across to lettings, and then from there, that's really where my career took off, to be honest.
Okay, so let's go through the years. 09, 10, you're in lettings.
Yeah.
Let's progress all the way through.
Yeah.
Did you stop at Countrywide or did you move?
No, Countrywide for 11 years.
Okay,
yeah.
So go through that progression nice and quick, because obviously, we don't want warts and all.
Of course.
Where did you?
So branch manager, 2011. Moved around numerous offices, opened up some new offices for them as well.
What was it like opening up a Cold Start? Because it's hard work, especially with lettings.
It is. But to be honest, I found that if you look at the lettings was always looked at as a poor cousin of sales, and everyone thought it was easy. But if you take the sales mentality across to the letting side, plus you learn the letting sort of touchy-feely relationships, then we found it quite easy to go into smaller market towns and win market share really quickly because we had that energy.
Which towns did you really enjoy working in?
Leighton Buzzard.
Yeah, nice little town.
It's lovely.
And that's on Connell's doorstep as well.
Well, yeah. Well, the Countrywide head office used to be there years ago as well.
Oh, did it? I didn't know that. You learn something every day, don't you?
Yeah.
And let's go through to, say, 14, 15, 16. Where were you at that point?
I would have been running the main office in Central Milton Keynes, and then 2016 is when I got made a regional manager.
Okay, so is that posh words for area manager then?
Yeah,
so
I think
of the branches.
Our actual title was the regional performance director. I got promoted just as the Allen Pumpson Platt era came in.
Okay,
which was
but in old money, that's area manager.
Area manager, correct? Yeah.
Different skill set, though, isn't it?
Very different skill set.
Did they give you enough training to be an area manager, or was it just because you were a damn good estate agent that?
I think at the time, bearing in mind they merged sales and lettings as well, it was more me actually training the sales regionals on lettings and me not necessarily getting a huge amount back from the sales training side. I mean, the patch got carved up. I basically got given all the branches that the other regional sales managers didn't want, which was a bit of a baptism of fire, but you just got to get on with what you're given.
Do you enjoy it?
Yes and no. It was nice to have something new when you're doing the same job for 5-6 years in the same office.
Because running your own branch, after a while, it does get a bit boring, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, by 11 o'clock, you feel like your work's done and you're spending the rest of the day motivating the team. It's great to have that team spirit around you, but I always like to learn something new and strive to improve.
Problem is that when you're an area manager, though, that you're not at the front line doing the deals, are you? How did you feel about trying to motivate staff that weren't very motivated?
I think it's probably the toughest part of the job, in all honesty. I mean, everything that your region stands for is all about what people do on the front line. And if there's things which are out of your control, such as career progression, salaries, all those sort of things which got taken away from our jurisdiction, it's quite hard to motivate people when deep down you're agreeing with their gripes, if I'm being brutally honest.
At this point, had you got any future plans for yourself, or did you think you'll just go up the greasy ladder of Countrywide?
Pretty much. I think when you're in a branch in a location all the time, or around that sort of market, you always have plans to start your own business and things. I think most people dream of that. When you go up to regional manager level, because you're moved out of that environment, I think that realistically your head really does get into, well, I'm just going to keep going up that corporate ladder and that'll be my
And you
career.
thought you would just be on that escalator on the way up to...
I think so, yeah. I think you get to that position and you do question whether or not do you really want to end up being the MD or the CEO if with the job that you're doing. So
do you think you'd have been good enough for that role?
Looking back now, probably not, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay. So who was running lettings at this part? Was it John Hards? And
when I first started, you mean, or when?
Well, at this point, I was 16 then.
16 would have been...
Because they had the big cull, didn't they, bless them, Countrywide?
Yeah, well, that's where they merged it. So so I was under Alison Nunes, best boss I've ever had in my entire life. She's absolutely brilliant. And she got moved down to the south coast to be the equivalent of an MD, and we had Michael Miller come from Scotland, who was looking after both sales and lettings at that point.
When did the serious germ of starting your own business come into your head? And I'm not talking about, I'd love to be the president of the world, but it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But when did it seriously think, I can't go on, I need to something different?
I think when it was a case of, that what you're telling your staff to do, you don't agree with deep down. You're passing messages on that fundamentally, you disagree with, having to close branches, make people redundant, performance manage people out of the business for the sake of reducing headcounts. It's just when it doesn't feel right inside, something's got to change. And
so when did you make that decision that you had to take a different track in your life?
To be honest, it was made for me. I got introduced to Ben Taylor. Our paths never crossed at Countrywide because London was very much ring fenced, and he explained the Keller Williams model. And after that first conversation, it was just, well, this is the way forward.
And when was that?
Probably the beginning of 2018, I believe.
You said that it was forced on you, but it wasn't, because you just went to speak with Ben.
It wasn't. So it wasn't forced on me, but as soon as you hear how it works, when it ticks all of your boxes...
But let's be frank, Ben is very, very persuasive. He's very macro. Mm-hmm. But fundamentally, it really is about the frontline support you get.
In all honesty, it's that sort of model that Ben is a very charismatic guy, as you know. But in a sense, it wouldn't matter who delivered it. When someone explains to you the theory, the culture, how it works in terms of it being a platform for you, and you look at all of the things you wish you could do within a corporate company. Okay. I said to him, it took me 6 months to decide to leave Countrywide.
So when did you leave Countrywide?
September 18.
Surely, though, that you had a mortgage to pay for, roof to put on your head, a family. How did they all feel about that?
Well, I didn't go from there straight to being a self-employed agent. I went to run the Prime Market Centre for Ben. So the idea would be to go down, understand the model, help him create a better market centre that would be that sort of shining beacon to help.
So it wasn't. So really, you weren't self-employed at that point?
No, at that point I was moving another employed role.
So when you joined Ben, it was an employed role, yes?
Yeah.
At what point did you almost do a Remington moment and say, actually, I love this so much that I think I'm going to do it myself.
Well, the idea was always for me to go down and understand the model so I could effectively look at a market centre within Milton Keynes. But I wanted to understand first and foremost the model and how you can provide that value to your agents to make them successful. That was the idea of going down there. But the real sort of the moment the screw was turned was actually this time last year when we did a course called Quantum Leap. And it was sitting in there in December that over the Christmas period, I then in January said to Ben, right, this is what my new plan's going to be and this is what I'm going to go and do.
Wasn't that a bit scary?
It actually wasn't, to be honest, because once you're immersed inside the Keller Williams world and the culture and the training and you look at the opportunities.
It does sound a bit cult-like, though, if you don't mind me saying. Is it?
It depends what your definition of a cult would be.
Well, you see the videos, and all the time, everyone seems to be training all the time and not actually doing any bloody work. Although you're a bit different because you're not based around here.
No, so I'm based in Milton Keynes,
Okay.
but I operate out of the Central London Market Centre.
So what do you actually get for your money?
In terms of the what, everything you need to start an estate agency business.
But what else do you get?
Mindset.
Go on.
So if you're sat in a branch, you are pretty much taught that it is the brand which attracts all the leads, and it's all about the brand. Learning the Keller Williams models and systems and understanding that you've got that platform there to effectively make you the best version of yourself. I find personally, my view is that it's quite hard to fail when you have that, especially when you look at the number of transactions, and as long as you're choosing to operate in an area that can sustain that sort of business. If you look at Milton Keynes as an example, on average there's about 2,000 houses available on the market at one time. Even if you take 1% market share, that's 20 properties. 1 in 100, and there aren't 100 estate agencies.
Yeah.
So just by the law of averages, you should be able to run a pretty decent business.
Yet, I'm beginning to hear some horror stories of people joining the self-employed model and after 6 months leaving, blaming the model, not getting the business. Let's be frank, you lot are just obsessive about building lists, but surely it's not all about building lists. It's getting out there, rolling your sleeves out, doing some bloody hard work.
Yeah, you've got the combination of the two. You need your lists, you need your models there to build a sustainable business. But of course, it's sales. Any new business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, if you're starting afresh, of course you've got to roll your sleeves up and muck in for the first however long.
And what would you say to someone who isn't, let's be frank, there's the grafters out there,
yeah,
and then there's the people that almost buy a job and the business doesn't come in. What would your message be to those?
I would say until you understand how the business works and how Keller can actually support you, you don't know whether you're going to be a good fit or not. Because there is, if you look at all the conversations you've had recently where you've got really good listers or managers in branches, they don't necessarily turn to be good self-employed
because a good
agents.
Converter doesn't make a good business generator.
Precisely. You're only as good as if you can get in front of the people in the first instance. But then on the flip side of that, you've got some people that don't work very well in an employed model that this is brilliant for because it actually emphasises their natural ability and their natural talents.
So really what you're telling me is it's really down to the person and not the model.
I think it's a combination of both, to be honest with you. I think you've got some people which are perfect to do it, but if you then don't follow the model, then it's not going to be a success. Or you've got some people that it just naturally isn't a good fit for them because it doesn't suit where they are in their life at the moment. And that's, to be honest, what I like about it. I mean, the whole point is that it's not for everybody.
Who is it for, though?
Genuinely, I think it's for anybody that really wants to make a difference. If you genuinely feel like you can offer more to your market, that you can do things, if you want to do things more personally, if you want to have more time to do things and dedicate to your customer, then I think your mindset's already in the right place. The business side of things, Keller can teach you. They can show you how to do that.
Okay. What would you say to someone who's worried about putting everything on the line and starting their own business?
I would say welcome to the club. I'd say any single person that's up in their own business, anyone that is self-employed goes through exactly the same thing, and that is purely a mindset. But what Keller can't do is change your mindset for you, but it can show you that everyone has had those same worries before you. You're not alone, and if you look at things in a different way, and if you turn that mindset around and actually turn those negatives into positives, it's good to be aware of those things because then you can put a plan in place to ensure that they don't happen. Thank you, Dominic, for your video today. This is one of 5 or 6 videos of
of speaking with Keller Williams people today. I'm going to be doing other models, EXP, as well as the Sean Newman model. Check them all out on my YouTube channel. Go in with open eyes. It isn't for everyone, but genuinely, as Dominic says, if you go with the right mindset, accountability, self-awareness. Are you having the time of your life, mate?
I'm literally having the best time of my life.
Good. Good. Thank you for today.
Very well. Thank
Cheers.
you.